All right, we already have some people here. Kinley's here, Jody's here. Hello, guys. I hope you're doing good. How is everything going with you guys? Oh, great. Leonard is here as well. Leonard, how are you doing? I hope everything is going well with you. Oh, are you apologizing because you misspelled his name, maybe? Leonard. Great, great, great. Um, Hold on 1 second. Chérie, on pourrait mettre l'enfant dessus un truc comme ça, si possible. Au lieu du, comment on appelle, du Chromecast là. All right, guys, we are back. We had a little interruption. So again, please say something if you're in the chat right now. If you join us, please let us know that you've joined us. All right, are we back? Okay, I can see McNamara here. Great, McNamara, I hope you're doing good. All right, guys, so let's get started. We have a few things that we're going to do today. We are going to learn something extremely important today, which is called pivoting. And I mean, you'll see what it is. Okay, but first and foremost, let me just let you know this. A few weeks ago, I believe, I showed you that dplyr 1.0.0 was going to come out soon. That's what I told you. I showed you a web page. Well, it is out now. As you can see, it came out yesterday. Okay, so I am also going to show you how to update a package. I think this is a great opportunity for us to learn how to update a package. If you want to update a package, you can just, if you want to install a package, you use install. Oops, let me make it slightly bigger for you guys. Install.packages and then the name of the package, right? Right. If you want to update a package, you can use the update.packages and then the name of the package. Okay, so this is something that you can do right away, and I'm doing it in my console because I mean, of course, I don't want it to stay in my script. It is something that I want to do quickly and move on with my work, right? So I can do it right from the console. So go ahead, guys, and run this. Okay, I have already done it. And just to make sure that the package has been updated, there's also a function called package version like this. Okay, and you can check the version of your package, and you can specify the package that you want here, and that's dplyr, and mine is 1.0.0, as you can see. All right, so make sure that yours is the same. All right, and it comes with many features, and everything that I've taught you so far about dplyr is still correct. And actually, the more advanced features inside dplyr, we haven't really looked at them yet, but it's good that dplyr 1.0.0 is out. So I am actually going to teach you the new way of doing things instead of the old way, even though the old way is still valid. The new way, I believe, is what I am going to teach you when we get to that, like scoped verbs and things like that. Okay, so that's number one. You may want to look for this article and then read through it if you want. But yeah, the new version is very good. And number two, now this came out a few days ago already, and that's RStudio 1.3. Okay, now I am very sure that most of you do not have the latest version of RStudio. Well, it doesn't really matter, but of course you want to stay up to date. So RStudio 1.3 is out. So if you want to download it, of course not now, because it's going to take a little longer. But if you want to download and install it instead of the current version of RStudio you have, that would be beautiful. And an easy way to do that is from inside RStudio. You can click on the help icon here, or menu button, and then click on check for updates. I know it's very small on your screen, but this is something that I cannot zoom in, so you can click on check for updates. So mine says you're using the newest version of RStudio, but yours, I am very sure, will be different, and you can just click on download or something like that, and it will take you straight to the download page, and go ahead and download that RStudio for your system. It comes with a few interesting things. So for example, it comes with spell checking, which is pretty nice. Let me try something here. Let's say let me spell school with you know, a K, instead of a C, you know. So you see, it does like Microsoft Word now, spell checking, you know. Even though I'm not even sure you can see it well. Okay, maybe you can see it slightly better now. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Of course, what really matters is the code that you're writing. But you know, this is nice. Also, it comes with another wonderful section here, the tutorial section, which you shouldn't have right now if you don't have RStudio 1.3. There's a very powerful package in R called Learn R package, which is a package that allows you to make interactive. Oh, McNamara says that he cannot see my screen. Guys, is it the? Does everyone have this problem? Can you please let me know? When you say you cannot see, do you mean that it's too small or it's completely black? Okay, Kinley says that he can see my screen. I'm not really sure. What do you mean by that, McNamara? Okay, please let me know in the chat. Alright, so I was talking about the tutorial pane, and the Learner package is a very good package for making interactive tutorials from within R. Now, this is wonderful for teaching and things like that. Actually, I haven't really learned how to use that package yet, but this is in my to-do list in this month. Actually, I'm going to learn how to do that. Let me actually show you one tutorial. Okay, it's loading. Alright, so you can see that it's loading it. Alright, so this is made in R. Alright, I'm going to teach you how to make basic documents. Oh, okay, you see the tidyverse blog page. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I was showing you. Okay, that's exactly what I was showing you. Alright, so you see, so you read through the welcome page, then you click on next, then it goes to another page. What is a data frame? And you can actually write code here and run the code as if you were in RStudio. Of course, I am in RStudio right now, but this can be published on a website, for example. You know, an interactive tutorial from a website, then continue, and then you have more instructions, then continue, more instructions, then continue. You know, like a course, and you can ask questions to your students and ask them to reply, and then you can give them a hint if they don't know. So the learner package has existed for a long time, but RStudio 1.3 actually integrates the tutorials inside the program, or the IDE, if you will. All right, so it's very interesting. All right, so I just wanted to mention that very quickly before moving on with you. Okay, guys, so I already made the live code, and I am now going to share it with you. Now, what you may want to do right now is we are going to learn pivoting data, okay? But this is not what we. Oh yeah, the live code that I made was for pivoting data actually. So I'm going to have to make another live code for flights visualization, because we're going to do a few things here before moving to the other one. All right, so let me share the code with you. Okay, guys, please check the chat. I just posted the live code there for you. Okay, I think I may need to have all this open. Okay, all right, guys. So we have learned a few things last time. You know, we learned about you know, aesthetic mappings, which is very important. And actually, pivoting today, we're going to learn pivoting data, as I said, and you know, I'm going to show you why aesthetic mapping is so important, and why pivoting data is important if you want to do aesthetic mapping, because sometimes the data doesn't come in the shape that you want. Okay, so you have to reshape it basically before you can visualize it using aesthetic mapping. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you don't understand very much right now, but don't worry. At the end of this, you will be able to understand. Also, we talked about faceting. Okay, if you want to create small boxes for your different plots that we call small multiples, actually. In the data visualization world, they call it small multiples. Okay. We also learned about Geom Smooth. Actually, Kinley posted a chart where he used Geom Smooth, which was really great. And we learned a few other things. And guys, what I was actually saying last time when the stream was, suddenly, cut by an internet problem was, when it comes to making Ggplot charts or even data visualization in general, do not hesitate to go to the internet and and explore and ask questions and research. Actually, I still do that even today. I don't know everything. I still have some blind spots, I guess, in my understanding of art. Actually, I don't even know 1% of the whole thing. So I go to the internet. Actually, if you go to the forums like Stack Overflow and things like that, you will see many of my questions. And people have really helped me, and they are still helping me a lot when it comes to art. So guys, do not hesitate to explore. Of course, I'm here as well. If you are in our Slack channel, like many of you have done already, go ahead and ask me the questions that you want. And if I know, I will definitely give you the answer. If I don't, I will, maybe look for an answer with you. So, exploring is extremely important in data analysis. Okay, guys, so let's look at something today. And, again, this is an introduction to Ggplot. We're not really going to go into the advanced stuff, but, you can definitely look for exactly what you want, in Ggplot. Okay, but one thing that is, I believe, very important that I'm going to show you is, how to flick the axis, and I'm going to show you right now. Now, a few of you posted some charts. Well, as I talk, let me go ahead and load my packages and import my data sets. A few of you posted some charts, and because there were too many names on the x-axis, it was basically impossible to see the axis clearly. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Let's make a bar chart of most popular American Airlines destinations, okay, out of NYC. Okay, most popular American Airlines destinations out of New York City. All right, let's check. Let's basically do it. I mean, we are really familiar with our data set right now. So of course it's going to be in the flights data set. And we want, okay, let me actually show you the data set in the console. Okay, I can't even see everything, but we want the carrier to be AA only, right? So we're going to filter by AA. All right, so now we have all the AA values, and we basically want a count of the destinations, okay? A count of the destinations. As you know, you can do group by and summarize, or you can just do, count. So we want to count destination. We're going to sort, okay, like that. Okay, true. All right, and okay, let's keep it with N. Okay, the name is still going to be N, so that's it. All right. So let's make a bar chart of this. I'm going to go ahead and directly plot it inside Ggplot. Now, last time I remember mentioning that, in practice, I would not pipe my data directly into Ggplot, okay? Because I might need that data set itself for other things later. So it's better to save it in a variable and use that variable in Ggplot, okay? Well, that's exactly what I showed you the first time. All right, so but you know, let's just do it here because I don't think we're going to use it again. All right, so let's do the mapping now. On the x-axis, we're going to have the destination, and on the y-axis, we're going to have the let's say the you know, the count, right? And now we need plus because we are now doing some data visualization. All right, and geom call is what we're going to be using here. Okay, so we have, this is the plot here. Okay, so you know, my screen is kind of big, and this is the reason why we can see everything. All right, so you know what? Let's just do most popular destinations. Okay, let's not even filter or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to comment out this line of code, or let me just remove it. All right, but if I commented it out like that, it would have still worked. I would have gotten what I wanted. Okay, so now you see, even if I maximize it, I can't really read what I have on the x-axis, which is kind of, you know, not really what I want. So that's the first problem with this plot. The second problem is, and this is a tip, when you're making bar charts like that, it is much better, guys, to order your plot, you know, from highest to lowest or from lowest to highest or something like that. Okay, you don't want things to be just like that because it's going to take a second to whoever is reading your chart to you know which one is the highest one, which one is the lowest one, and so on and so forth, right? So it's better to reorder. So these are the two things that I'm going to teach you right now. How do you do that? Okay, now for the first one, sometimes there are, you know, there may be too many different categories on the x-axis that, you know, you don't really have a choice. You will have to cut out some of them. Okay, this might actually happen. Okay, but before we do that, let's check if maybe that little trick that I'm going to show you is going to work. Maybe, just maybe. Now the trick is very simple. Okay, some of you may actually have thought about it already. You know, it is actually very possible to flip the it is very possible to flip the names of the destination so that instead of being written horizontally, okay, they are written vertically. And if they are written vertically, then that will actually help out, you know, and you'll be able to see everything. But even better, in my opinion, is to use the chord flip function, which will completely flip, you know, the two axes, and then you're going to end up with a chart like that, you know. Now this is actually going to make it more readable, but of course in this case it's still no good because there are still too many names, so we can't really see anything like that. Okay, but flipping everything is really helpful. Okay, so let's reduce it, and that's really what you will need to do sometimes. You know, if there are too many things to visualize, maybe you want to maybe look at the top 20 or the top 30, you know, something like that, and then flipping it will be better. Okay, so let's do top 30. So I'm going to add it here. Top 30. We'll see if it works. I said I was going to remove this. Okay, so when I make the count data set, okay, I want to keep the top 30. So I'm going to use the top n function. Okay, top n, and n is equal to 30. And I want it according to the n column here. All right, so let me just remove, you know, I don't want you guys to be confused or anything. I'm going to call it count, and I'm going to name the column count, you know, specify the count column here. All right, so let me run this. All right, so now we have, as you can see, the top 30 destinations. All right, and let me actually create the bar chart without flipping. Oh, okay, I did not link it to the Ggplot calls. All right, so let me do it without the flip first. Oh, did I mistype something they said? Oh yeah, yeah. Now this is not n anymore, it's count, so I have to change it here as well. Okay, this should work now. Okay, guys, so let's check it. All right, so we can still see we can still see everything. You know what? I want something that is going to be difficult to see. You know, the normal way, but easier to see uh, when we are flipping. Okay, of course, if I maximize it, okay, even if I maximize it, you see it is still kind of difficult to see, right? Okay, so let me go ahead and flip it now. Um, oh, sorry. Let me flip it now. And this should be much better. Okay, this would be much better. It's actually very possible to see everything. And you know, you in Ggplot you have control over the font size of all these labels and things like that. But yeah, this is really what I wanted to show you, right? By the way, I don't think I ever mentioned it, but all the plots that you make, you can actually go back to them if you click on this button here. Okay, so this, you know, is going to take me back to all the plots that I made since I started this RStudio session. Okay, so let me show that to you again. You see it's kind of difficult to see when it's like that. Okay, but when you move to the next one, it's much easier to see. You know, even though I didn't even zoom or maximized it, you know, it's actually much easier to see. All right, so this is the first tip that I wanted to show you here. It's the cohort flip. So sometimes if you know it's hard to read whatever you have on the x-axis there, you know, just go ahead and flip your coordinates and everything will be great. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is basically reordering everything. Now I hope you have realized this. When I use the top end function, you know, with the count function only, I'm going to rerun this. With the count function only, okay, because I decided to sort, everything is going to be arranged, okay, in descending order because of sort equals true, okay. So and I also picked the top 50, okay, so everything is still sorted, right? And you would think that sorting the data set is enough to sort the bars here, but that is not the case. Obviously, as you can see, right, it's not automatically sorted, right? So there is definitely some extra things that you need to do, okay, in order to be able to sort it. Okay, now let me teach you how to do it. We are going to use a function in base R, okay, even though there's a very good package, you know, for doing this called forcats, you know, which is a package for working with categories or factor variables. I'm just going to teach you the base R, you know, version. And actually, when I start teaching you about data classes and all that, which is really something basic to understand, I will go back to factors and teach you about the forcats package, which is actually wonderful as a package. Okay, so how are we going to do this? It's actually fairly simple. Oh, you know, okay, I can actually show you. Okay, let me just do it right here. So basically, you want to be able to reorder destination, and you want inside the plots, you want every single let me do this here. Okay, you want all the destinations to be reordered according to the count, okay, so that the destination with the highest count is first, destination with the second highest count is second, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's actually what you want to do. So you can actually do it inside the, you know, let me actually put a space here. This is data manipulation, okay, and this is the chunk for data visualization. You can do it right here in the data manipulation chunk if you want, actually, or you can do it straight here. You can reorder it inside the Ggplot. Let me actually do both and show you how it works. All right, so after getting my top 50, I am going to add a mutate because I want to change something about the destination column. Okay, so if you want to change something that already exists, a variable that already exists, you use mutate for that. Okay, and you're going to use the reorder function like this. Reorder function. Okay, this is not arrange. Okay, this is not arrange. Arrange is actually going to reorder everything for you to like for the final displayed data. That's what arrange is going to do. But reorder is actually going to make the computer understand that this comes before this, which comes before that, and so on and so forth. Okay, so arrange is for you. Reorder, if you will, is really for everything that you want to do with the data itself. Okay, so reorder. So what do we want to reorder? We want to reorder dest. Okay, that's number one. And what criterion did we want to do we want to use for reordering? We want to use the count column. All right, so you just mentioned count here. All right, so basically we are reordering the destination column according to count. Now this is actually going to make the computer know which one comes first. So let me run it. After running it, you see that destination changed, and it is no longer a character variable, which is text. It is now a factor variable, which we briefly talked about, 2 weeks or 2 live streams ago, when I was trying to figure out, why the ticks, why the months were not showing up in integer values, and stuff like that. But I think I cut it out from the YouTube recording. Okay, but that's not important. But this is a factor variable now, and a factor variable is basically categorical data. Okay, categorical data. So every destination is not just a simple piece of text. Every destination is now a category. This is one destination, okay, and everything has been ordered. All right. So let me go ahead now and link it to the Ggplot. All right, it's the same destination column. All right, the name didn't change, and we still have the same count column too. So let me just go ahead and run. Lo and behold, people, actually let me do it without the cohort flip first. Okay, without the cohort flip, you can see that everything is now ordered. So guys, when you're making a bar chart, this is really something that I encourage you to do. Always reorder your bars. Okay, always reorder your bars, which is something that I did not know when I wrote my first published work. I have a bar chart there which is not reordered, and later on I was like, oh, why didn't I reorder it? But while it got published, so that's the article got published, so that's good. Okay, so you see it's reordered like that, and of course if you flip it, okay, if you flip it, the order is still maintained. So this is really how you want to show your thing. So you see now it's easy to see which one is the biggest, okay, the most popular destination out of the top 50, and that's ORD, okay, and then Atlanta, and so on and so forth. Okay, now the second thing that I want to show you is this. If you want to reorder it the other way, okay, then you can just add a minus here. You can add a minus in front of count. Let me just do it very quickly for you guys to see. So when I run it with minus, I'm going to do it without the cohort flip first. You see, now, when you're looking at it horizontally, it starts from the highest to the lowest. But before, it was the other way around. Okay? And if you flip it, it's going to be different too. Okay? So now it's from the lowest to the highest, as you go from the top to the bottom, like this. Okay? So it depends on really what you want. Okay. All right, so I also promised that I was going to teach you how to do it from inside Ggplot. Okay, so I'm going to, copy and paste this, and I'm going to remove that mutate. Okay, I'm going to remove that mutate. Okay, so now it is not ordered, as you can see. All right, like we had it before. Okay, so at this point, this is how you want to do it. So remember that we added a mutate, okay, on destination, And you can actually do it right here. Like you can, it's not going to be muted, but you can reorder destination right from within the aesthetics function like this. Reorder destination by count, like this, or by minus count if you want the other reordering. All right, let me run it, and lo and behold, people, we've got exactly what we're looking for. Okay, but of course, as you can see, this is, you know, the code that we wrote is going to be used as an access label, but we now know how to change access labels and all that, so this is not a big problem. Okay. All right, so I'm taking a look at the chat and there's no question. So I believe that everything is going good and I'm happy. And guys, you know, this is why we're doing a live stream. You know, I could have recorded these videos to upload them, but we're doing a live stream because I want to interact with you. So if you have any questions and things like that, do not hesitate to ask away. Okay, so these are the first two tips that I wanted to show you. Now, next, let's learn something which I believe is fairly important too, in order to make your plot a plot of quality. Okay, now it's going to require an extra package which we don't have yet. Okay, and I'm going to ask you to install that package. Actually, let's install the package that we're going to need for the pivoting data actually. So let's do it. Install.packages. Okay, we're going to use the C function. Remember, we learned that because this time around we want to install two packages. The first package that we want to install, let me make it slightly bigger for you, is and this is not in the script, so you're not going to see it in a live code because it's in my console, right? Let's install the scales package. The scales package. It is a package that is extremely good for working with dplyr. Okay, it has really many interesting things there. Okay, that you can use. Oh, I said dplyr with Ggplot too. Okay, it has many interesting functions there. All right, now after scales, the next package is tidyr. Okay, now let me copy and paste it in the script so that you guys will be able to copy and paste it too. Okay, but don't run it from your script, run it from your console because we don't want it to stay in the script there. Okay, so that's the scales package and the tidyr package. Okay, once again, tidyr package is going to be used for pivoting data in a second, and scales is going to be used right now. I just want to teach you a few things there. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys, 30 seconds so you can go ahead and install it. And please, if you are done installing, say something in the chat and let me know that everything worked perfectly. Okay, you guys are still installing. I haven't seen any message in the chat yet. Again, please do not forget to let us know in the chat if you are done installing these two packages. Okay. No one has said anything yet. Okay, I guess it's still installing. I think, is it tidyr that is taking time? Maybe skills? I'm not sure. Well, I already have them, so let me see. I don't know. Okay, so Kinley is done. Great. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, I guess I need to check the dependencies and things like that. Okay, anyways. All right, I know there are a few more people. Just waiting for a few people at least to tell me that you've installed it, and then we can continue. Okay, I mean, while it is installing, this is what I would love for you to do. We're going to use the scales package in this script. So let's go to the very beginning of the, of the script there, and let's add a call to the library function with the scales package in it. Okay, so just put it at the very top there. Okay, and utilities for let's say plotting. Okay, there's not really any geometry in it or anything like that, but it's just for the labels really, and it has more functions, but these are the only functions I'm going to show you. McNamara is done, wonderful. Okay, guys, what about everybody else? Okay, maybe we have more of our stealthy friends today. Okay, great. So go ahead, if you've installed it, go ahead and yeah. So go ahead and run the library package here, like library skills. Just go ahead and run it. Okay. All right, Leonard is done. That's wonderful. Okay. So I'm executing skills here. All right. So library skills, I mean, just to load it because now it's installed. Okay. All right. So if you don't open the package, you won't be able to use it. Okay. So what is it that I want to show you? You see, when you're making a plot, sometimes some of the values that you're going to show here are very big values. Okay, very, very big values. And in a case like that, you may want to use a comma separator. Okay, for showing your values. And this is what I want to show you right now. Now, one thing that I did not say, which I think is important, is these axes have been flipped, but the axes are still the same. So this is now presented to you as the y-axis, but it is still the x-axis. So in your code, if you do anything to change the x-axis, this is going to be affected, this axis here. Okay, so it is still the x-axis even though it has been flipped. Okay, that's what you need to know. And this right here is still the y-axis, but it was just flipped basically. All right, so how do I add comma separators here? Okay, so this is the y-axis and it is continuous. It is a continuous value axis. All right, so I showed it to you last time, but we're going to use it again. Scale y continuous. I want to change some things about the values on the y-axis. So scale y continuous, and it is a continuous data. Okay, so that's why it is. You have to use this function. Okay, and what I want to change there is the labels. So the labels is basically what you can see. Okay, the values that you can see. All right, and so these values there, you want to change them, and you're going to use a function in the scales package, and that function is called comma format, like this, comma format, like this. Okay, and it's a function, as you can see. Now you will not be able to use it if you haven't loaded the scales package. Okay, so I'm going to add in the scales package, I'm going to add a quick comment here. Okay. So I'm going to run it again, and when I run it, I want you to look at my values now. See, my values are now comma separated. Okay, So when you are making a plot, especially if you have to publish it somewhere or you have to send it somewhere, you want to make sure that your plot is in such a way that that it is perfect. I mean, of course, there's nothing like a perfect plot or something, but you want to increase its quality by adding things like that. Of course, I haven't changed the theme, I haven't added the title, I haven't changed the labels on the X and the Y axis and all that. But I'm showing you, bits of things here and there so that you can kind of add everything yourself, when you are, doing this or when you're making your own plot. So comma format is one. Now the second one is there are other ones that are kind of important. You have dollar format. Now for the dollar format, let me go ahead and let's make something else. Okay. Let's say how much. Okay, let's say monthly kerosene spending by United Airlines. So you want to find out how much United Airlines spent in kerosene, which is the fuel used by airplanes. Looking at the time, will we be able to do pivoting today? Okay. Anyways, okay, let's do it. So monthly kerosene spending by United Airlines. Okay, so first let's calculate how much was spent by them, and of course we need data on how much does kerosene cost. Oh guys, you know what? This I think is going to be too big of a project for us. Yeah, but of course we need to find out how much 1 gallon of kerosene costs. And here I should even say how it cost back in 2013 on average. Maybe you could use that, and then find out what's the average, mileage per gallon of an airplane or something like that. And based on that, you can find out how each airplane. This is actually a good project. Maybe I'm going to assign it to you as a project. All right, guys, let's forget about this. I'm going to assign it to you as a project so that you will have, some interesting things to do with many steps and all that. But okay, you know what? Let me just show it to you right here on the same code, even though it will not make sense, because I really would love to move to pivoting. Let me show it to you. You have comma format, you have dollar format. So if I use dollar format, of course, count is not in dollars, but I'm just showing it to you just so that you know. So it will add the comma formatting, the comma separation, and it will add the dollar as well. Okay. Now, of course, everybody does not use the dollar. Okay. You have some people here, for example, Kinley, Chewong, they are from a very wonderful kingdom called Bhutan. Kinley, would you please tell us what's the name of the currency you use in Bhutan, in the kingdom of Bhutan? Can you please let us know in the chat? Okay, so if you're using a different currency, you will still use the dollar format function. But inside the function, okay, there is an argument which I want to show you here. Oh, it's called, whoa, I'm not really sure how to read. Is this Gultrum or something? Gultrum or Trum? I'm not sure. Can you write it in a way that I would like read it? Even though it's not really, how the actual spelling, but would you please write it in a name, in a way that I would be able to read it? Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to show you how to change this. Okay, so you see prefix. There's an argument here called prefix, and inside, okay, Ngoltrum. Okay, Ngoltrum. Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, so you can add the prefix here. So by default, it is dollar, as you can see, but you can change it. So let me add prefix equals, I don't know. Let's assume that this is my currency here, for example, okay? Even though it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, you see, it will prefix it, as you can see. That'll be the name of the currency. So if there's a way to write the symbol for your currency on the computer, like type it up, you can just put it here and then it will work. Okay. So there's dollar format. You also have percent format. Okay. Percent format. So if you want the percentage symbol to show up there, okay, you can use %, and all these three functions are inside the scales package. Okay, so now you see. All right, so over here, the % format actually assumes that the values that you have are in decimals, so that if you have a value of 0.1, for example, okay, it will show up as 10%, or if you have a value of 0.5, it will show up as 50%. So this is why you see these values were scaled up. They were all multiplied by 100 basically, because over here we had about 5,000 and now we have 500,000, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, but if you already have the values, okay, that are already % values and you don't want any scaling, you can change the scale argument here, okay, and it's the multiplied factor basically. So you want the scale to be 1, so it's going to be multiplied by 1, but by default I think it's 100, as I just showed you. Okay, so when you do it by 1, you see it was 5,000, now you see 5,000%. For 10,000, you know, we have 10,000%, and so on and so forth. So it's not multiplied by 100 in the case like that. Okay, so I'm going to add it as comments. Actually, it's the comma format. Okay, and actually, I don't know. So as I told you, I come from a French background. Okay, not that I'm from France, but I'm from Cote d'Ivoire, as I told you, and the reason why I speak French, and French is my main language, is because my country was colonized by France, right? And the separators in when you're writing in French, we don't use commas. Actually, we use dots for separation. Okay. So instead of 5,000 in English would be 5,000. In French, it's actually 5.000. Okay, and even though in English the dot is for decimals, in French the comma is for decimals actually. Okay, I'm not sure whether you knew that, but it is kind of flipped. So for people like us coming to this system, it takes some getting used to actually. All right, so if you are trying to change it, you can use these two arguments. Okay, now is there anyone here that has the same kind of symbol for decimals and for thousand separators? If in where you live, if you're using something similar, please let us know in the chat. But big mark is for the thousand separators. So if I'm making a plot for French people, I would change this big mark to dot and decimal mark to comma. Okay, so you can actually change this right here. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. So that's comma format, but I'm going to add these two comments here just to show you, for you to remember this. So we've got, I also taught you the dollar format, okay, and I also showed you the % format, okay, that you can use, and there are many types of formats, but I think these are the most used, okay, that you may want to use. Okay, guys, so this is really a basic introduction to plotting, okay. But guys, I really would love to see some plots made by you, which required a little bit of digging. Maybe I want you to show me some things that I haven't taught you, and I mean, I really thank everybody that has made a plot and that has posted it in the Slack channel. Please keep them coming. Even if you're using your own data set, of course, make sure that this is not confidential data or anything like that, but please, show us some plots and add some interesting things to it. Use the things that I taught you, or if you have your own idea, you can search for how to implement these ideas, or you can ask me. I'll be more than happy to help you out. And post them in the chat. This is a great thing to do. It's good practice for you. All right, people. Let us talk about pivoting data. Okay, let's talk about pivoting data real quick. And this is also very important to understand. And I'm still looking at the chat. We don't have any questions right now. Okay, so I would love for you to create a new script. Okay, and if you want to create a new script, you can click on this icon here and click on our script. Okay, and yeah, now we have a new script, and you can go ahead and save it. You can save it in a project, the project root folder, you know, where you have flight analysis and all that. Okay, you can where we put joining data, you know, you can just create it there and call it pivoting underscore data. Okay. And as I told you earlier, we are going to use the tidyr package for pivoting our data. Okay, now let's I'm going to create a quick data set, you know, just to show you what we mean by pivoting. And for those of you who are experienced in Excel, you may have heard of the term pivot tables, and you may actually know how to do it in Excel. Yeah, it's actually the same kind of, you know, the same thing that I'm going to teach you in R. Okay, now let's assume that we want to find out the evolution of something between two students. Okay, I'm going to send you that code. Don't worry, I just want you to follow right now. So basically we have name of the student. Okay, oh no, we don't have name actually. Okay, let's say we're gonna have okay, the first student is called Bob. Okay, and the second student is called Marley. Oops. All right, Marley. Okay, these are two friends of mine actually. Okay, and you want to find out, you know, let's say these are their scores over time. You know, they are students in a certain class, let's say economics, and these are their scores over time. So in percentage, Bob started with an 82, then he got an 85, then something happened, he got a 72, and then he bounced back and he made a 96. Okay, Marley made an 87. Okay, something happened, she made, let's say, a 78. Okay, you know, she bounced back, she made an 89, and then she made a 95, like this. Okay, all right, so let's say you want to find out, oh, I think this is actually kind of small. All right, so I can actually make it very big. I don't need that. I don't need everything else. All right, guys, so these are the scores here. Now this right here is called a wide data set. Okay, a wide data set versus, or as opposed to a long data set. Why do we call it a wide data set? You see, all the data sets that we've used so far, they had something, they had something specific, you know, or you know, the way they were structured was specific. Let me show you one of them. Let's say planes, for example. So you see this? Every column is a specific variable, okay? And you will not have the same type of information in two different columns. This is what happens in every single data set that we've used so far. You know, weather, flights, everything else. Every column had something specific in it, a specific piece of information, and you would not find the same type of information in another variable or in another column. You know, you will not find engine information anywhere else, you will not find year information anywhere else, and so on and so forth. In this data here, this is not the case, because in the first column we have test data, okay, or scores data. In the second column we also have scores data. Of course, the scores are for two different people, but it's essentially they are of the same nature. So this is not a long data set, or it's also known as a tidy data set. Okay, this is an untidy data set. So what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to tidy it up, you know, and make it such that we have one column for each information and each row is for one specific observation. Okay, and speaking of rows, actually, let me go back to our studio. You see, when you look at a row here meant something. Okay, this was one specific observation, in the sense that this is information on a plane. This is information on another plane. Okay, in the flights data set, it was each row represented information on a specific flight. Okay, now over here you have what are your observations, your units of observations. Of course, they are supposed to be people. Okay, but when you look at this row, you have information on two people at the same time. So this is not a tidy data set, it's untidy. Now, of course, the way I'm saying it, it's like this is bad or anything. I know that's not what I'm saying. It's not necessarily bad, okay? But I'm just showing you that the format of your data actually matters. And all the tools that I've taught you so far, okay, they are tools that are, designed to work with tidy data. So if you have untidy data like this, you might actually find it a little, let's say, challenging. Let me say it that way, okay, to work. Even though, especially with dplyr 1.0.0, there are new tools for working with data that is untidy. Okay, so let's make a data set out of it, guys. I'm going to show you something that is magical. So I'm going to save it like this. Okay, Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac. Now this package, you don't have it. It's called data pasta, and data pasta will give you what we call an RStudio add-ins. I've never really mentioned it here, but RStudio has some, add-ins which are in packages, and an add-in is like it adds more functionality, more features to RStudio. So for example, data pasta. Okay, data pasta here, as you can see, this is the name of a package that you may want to download if you want to have access to these add-ins here. So data pasta is magical, guys, because I was in Excel. I copied data in Excel, and I can come to RStudio, and with that value that I copied, I can use data pasta to paste it. I mean, this is insane. I mean, look at that. So this is the code that will paste the data. Oh, you guys do not have the table package, so this is not going to work for you. Okay, let me actually paste it as a data frame. A data frame. And in the meantime, if you want, you may want to, install the table package if you want. Okay. So look at that. After running it, this is exactly the data set that I had in Excel. You see that? This is really magical. All right. So I haven't. Wait a second. Yeah, I haven't shared this live code yet. So let me do it. Okay, so second live code in the chat. All right, so let's switch to this one instead now. Alrighty. Okay, so so you will have access to this. Okay, we're just going to save it in a variable. I'm going to call it scores. Okay, because these are some student scores. And okay, so let me take a look at scores. Yeah, actually, let me say before I forget, data pasta is really insane in the sense that you can go to the internet. If you see a well-structured table on a website, you can basically copy everything on the table. If you see a table in Wikipedia or something like that, you can, select everything, copy, and then paste it using the add-in given to you by data pasta. Okay, this is really wonderful. Okay, so now we have the scores data set, and we want to use we want to transform it because it's not in a tidy format. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let me actually add. No, that would not really. Oh yeah, it can work. It can work. It could work. Okay, so I'm going to add this here. So I'm going to say this is test 1, test 2, test 3, and test 4. Okay, so this is what they both got in the first test, what they both got in the second test, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is what I am going to paste here instead. Okay. Alright, so this is just to add a few more variables. Alright, so we are going to pivot this table now. I'm actually going to call this scores wide because this is known as a wide data set where you have the same type of information across several columns. Okay. Now, so we want the wide data set to be transformed into a long data set or a tidy data set. So I'm going to call it scores, well, tidy or scores long. Okay, that would be the same. But before that, actually, let me write the code and then I'm going to add the name of the variable later. So we want to pivot longer. It's wide, so we want to pivot it. Okay, we want to transform it so that it becomes a long data set. And this is theoretically how we are going to do it. So you see, these two names, they are supposed to be data, actually. They are supposed to be data in the sense that because we want every row for one observation, over here, what you have is the names of the students. So these two values could actually be under one column called student. Okay? And we would have another column too where all these scores will be, under one column called score. Okay, and it doesn't matter if the values are repeated. Okay, but what matters is that you will end up with one row for one observation and one column for one variable. Okay, one specific variable. Okay, so how do we do this? Names to, that's the first argument you want to use. And by names here, we don't necessarily say names of the students, but names of the columns. So these columns, we want to put them inside or under a column, or in a column called students. So the names are going to go under students. Okay. All right. So the names are going under student, but what about the values now? Okay, what about the values? Values to. Okay, and we're going to score. Okay. But it's actually something very important which I should have started with and I did not. I'm sorry. But you see, of course, when you're pivoting, you're not pivoting everything. Okay, you're only pivoting these ones. Actually, as far as test is concerned, test, okay, as a column is kind of like in a tidy format already because for each row you only have one test information and that's basically it, right? You have one test information. So that's not a problem. But for these two, for each row, you have the same information across two different columns. Okay, so that's the problem. So you want to specify the columns that you are going to use for your pivoting. And that's actually where you're supposed to start. So I'm sorry, I should have started with it. Okay. So what are these two columns? The two columns, because there are two of them, okay, we're going to use the C function for combining Bob and Molly. Okay, you can actually do it like that. Okay, and that's it, guys. So number one, what are the columns that you're trying to pivot? Number two, the names of the columns that you're trying to pivot. What do you want them to go under? Call them students. What about the values? What do you want them to go under? Let me go ahead. Oh, sorry. They're supposed to be in quotations, okay? Because they are names. We want to specify them in quotations. Like this. Oh. Ooh, let me see. Oh, my bad. Okay, I think this would have worked, I think. But the problem is I did not specify my data set, scores wide. Or you can use the pipe, put scores wide, then pipe into pivot longer if you want. Okay, I think that's the problem I had. So that's the data set that I'm trying to pivot, the columns that I'm trying to pivot, names to student and values to score. Let's run it now and let's check it out, guys. So this is now a tidy or long data set, okay? Because if you look at this column, this row, I'm sorry. So let's look at the columns first, actually. Every column is a specific information. This is for test, this is for the student name, this is for the scores, okay? And each row is a specific information. So what information do I have on this row? This row tells me that Bob got an 82 in the first test. This row tells me that Molly got an 87 in the first test. The third row tells me that Bob got an 85 in the second test. And this tells me that Molly got a 78 in the second test, and so on and so forth. So this is tidy data, guys. These transformations are really, really important to understand very well, because they are going to be very helpful when it comes to, you know, your analysis, or even your data visualization processes and all that. Okay, so I'm going to store this inside scores long. Now my script is very long. It goes to the edge there, or scores tidy, as I said, scores tidy. So for this reason, let me just pipe it, because that's the first argument there, so I can use the pipe operator to make it. Oh no, can't remove this. Okay, so now you can see everything, and I've got it in scores tidy now. Wonderful. Okay, you know, let's try to plot our data. So we'll need some Ggplot2 here. Ggplot2, like this. Okay, so see, if I want to plot the data in scores tidy, I can now use aesthetic mappings, because let's say I want line charts for the two students. So scores tidy. Okay, on the x-axis, I want student. I don't know. I want the test name, the test. Okay, and on the y-axis, I want the score. So I will be able to see their evolution over time, actually. And we want to do it as a line chart. Now this is going to be very weird. Okay, this is not really what you want, right? Because there are supposed to be two lines there. But if you don't specify, you know, how the lines are supposed to be divided, this is what you're going to see. So you want to color by student. So each student is going to have its own line. And because you are mapping student to color, for example, okay, then it has to be inside the aesthetics. It has to be inside AES, like this, okay. And when you run it, okay, now you can see, okay, the evolution for these two students. Now this is possible to do with the long data, because you're using color student. But how do you do it with this? Okay, that will be kind of problematic. It is still possible to do it, but there will be more steps. Okay, let me show it to you again. Okay, this is really what you want, right? This is really what you're looking for. Of course, you can add some things to it, you know, change the theme, and you see, as I showed you last time, with aesthetic mappings, in most cases, as you can see, the legend is actually created for you. Okay, which is wonderful, because you have the legend there, so you know that Bob, you know, is like this, then Molly, you know, is like that, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now with the first case, the first data, this is how you would have to do it. Data scores wide, AES. So on the x-axis, you still want test, okay? And actually, no, you can't even put the AES here. I mean, you can if you want, but you will have to make one geom line for, so x test for Bob. So now Y will have the Bob column, okay? Because that's the column here that you're going to, the first column here, that you're going to map to the y-axis here, okay? So let's run it. This is it for Bob, okay? But plus, you will have to add a new geom line. X test Y for Molly, okay? All right, so you see, you can still do it. But then here you will have to apply colors now individually. So color red, if you want some colors, color blue, okay? But then the thing is, all right, look at this. The reason why on the y-axis here you have Bob, okay, is simply because Bob was the first, variable mapped, or the first column mapped to the y-axis, and that's why you have Bob on the y-axis. Okay, but it's not for Bob only; it's for Marley too, right? And you see, you don't have any legend, so you don't even know what blue is and what red is, okay, or who the red line is for and who the blue line is for. You can add all these things, but you will have to add them manually. You can add these legends manually, and that's not really the best. Okay, but when you change your data to long data, where you have one piece of information in each column, okay, then you don't have to worry about it. You know that this is for test, this is for the student name, and this is for the scores. Okay, let me run this. Oh, I don't need to. I can actually just go back a few steps here, and you see it does it for you. Okay. Now, I did not show that to you, but these columns can actually be changed. Sorry, these colors, they can be changed. And of course, this is really for pivoting data, but let me go ahead and show it to you here. Because you use the color aesthetic to change or to assign these colors, okay, you can basically go there and add another scale color manual. So that means that you want to specify some specific colors there, okay? And you have the values argument there, and because there are two colors, okay, what do you want the first one to be? What do you want the second one to be? Let me use some odd colors there. Green and yellow, okay? Okay, because there are two colors, right? So it's going to do it for you. So this will assign a color to each person, but then adding this will, basically tell Ggplot that, of course, it's hard to see, it's really hard to see, but yeah, this is how you can do it. Okay, and while we're here, again, this was supposed to be in the visualization script. I'm not even sure why I'm showing this to you here. But again, guys, this is all part of the learning process. Okay, we are learning anyways. But one thing that I haven't shown you really is, how to change this here. Maybe you want to put something different. Maybe you want to put student name or something like that. So this is the label of the legend. The label of the legend. Now, in order to change the legend label, or the legend title, actually, the legend title, okay, you may want to remove the legend altogether. Sometimes, some people just want to remove the legend, but if you want to change the title there, you do it in the labs function, and you already know the labs function. It is used for assigning x-axis label. So let's say test number, okay. On the y you have student student score, okay. I wanted to write student name, okay. Now if you want to change this legend, because the legend here was created through the use of the color aesthetic, okay, because it was created through the use of the color aesthetic, you will have to use color in the labs function here. If it was used maybe using group or or anything else, no, group will not actually create a legend for you. But if you were using any other aesthetic to create this legend, maybe size or something like that, then you will specify that legend here. But because we use color here, we're going to use color in labs. Okay, let me write name, okay, and you see when I write name, it's actually going to change it to name for me here. It used to be student because the name of the column is students, right? But no longer because I changed it in the labs. Okay, so guys, when it comes to data viz or visualization, there are so many things to learn, and it's impossible for me to teach you everything. I am actually still learning as we speak. I am actually still learning. So these are the basic things, I think, which are a good foundation for you guys to to learn basically more. And if you know the basics, so if you want to do something more specific, then please do some quick research on it or ask me, and you'll be able to find it without any problem. All right, guys. So we just started with the pivoting stuff. Now I know this is really new for most of you, but I hope that you were able to get the main idea. But of course, you're gonna have some homework. That will kind of let you practice pivoting. Okay. And here we pivoted from wide to long, but you can also pivot from long to wide, because sometimes it's needed. Maybe that's how you want it. If that's the case, there's actually another function called pivot wider. But I'm going to talk about pivot wider next time. But pivot longer is really what you want to use if you're using all these functions that I've been teaching you since we started. Guys, we didn't have much internet problem today. That's really wonderful. This is really what I had for you today. Now, guys, if everything worked for you, will you please let us know in the chat that things worked for you, please? And then we can say goodbye. And I am actually going to make another video, and this is not going to be a live stream, where I will talk about your projects, because I want to give it to you now so that you guys can start looking at it now. There's no pivoting in a project, but there's some visualization, there's some grouping by, and some summarizing. Remember, I briefly showed you that project on Slack about a company reaching out to you for doing some analysis for them on New York City restaurants. I'm going to assign it now, but I'll make a video to introduce, talk about the project basically, and then assign it to you, and I'll post it on Slack as well. All right, guys, can you please let us know if everything worked for you, please, so that I am confident that everything was okay for everybody. Or if you have questions, if you have some questions, please go ahead and ask your questions. I will take some time and reply. Okay, Kinley told us that everything is working perfect. Hey, you know what? Let's take a quick look at that currency that Kinley just told us about. So you said the symbol is NU. Oh, okay, it's BTN. Okay, all right, I see. Man, the world is a big place. Oh, wow. Is that the symbol for? Okay, that's the code for the currency. Okay, the symbol is NU, like you told us. Okay, all right. And you have all these coins. The rarely used ones are 5 and 10. Hey, Kinley, let us know. What do they mean rarely used? Like you don't have a lot of them or something like that? Like these ones, the 5 and the 10 are not really widely used. Hey Jody, you're very welcome. Okay, it is subdivided into 100. Is it Chertum? Chertum maybe? Okay, spelled as Chertrums. Okay, Chertrums. Okay, Chertrums. On coins until 1979. Okay, well that's interesting. Oh, there they are. Okay, I see. And these are the notes. All right. Okay, interesting. Oh, okay, Leonard. I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad that you were able to learn something today. Yes, pivoting is really important. Many people actually struggle to understand it, but if you are able to to get the gist of it, then that's the most important. But don't worry, the practice questions that I'm going to send you are going to really help you out. Learning how to pivot and when it's important. I'm going to try to give you different case scenarios and things like that for you guys to pivot. Oh, okay. So Kinley is saying that these ones are rare because they don't have much value. Okay, I see. Oh, so the big ones are the end use one right here. Okay, and then these are coins. Okay. So I guess you will need a lot of them, a lot of these, to make maybe one in gold trum here. I guess. Okay, I see. Well, that's wonderful. Since I met you, I guess online, I have actually read a lot about your kingdom because I had never heard of it, to be honest. So I did some research, and you guys have beautiful mountains, you know, the Himalayas and all that. That's really great. That's really great. Okay, well, I guess that's it for today, guys. No questions, so I believe everything went well. I'm really glad, guys. Please send us some nice charts in the Slack channel. So once again, Kinley, you know, he made this for mean temperature. Okay, and actually, this is using your own data, Kinley, because you're talking about next nest site and breeding season and all that. Uh, so that's great. We had a few other ones. So yeah, this is the one that I talked about by Michael, talking about, you know, the time that customers lost. You know. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. I see. Yeah, there's something else that I want to talk about. Jody actually made this. You know, she added some colors and stuff like that. She used the feel argument for this one. Okay. Flight traffic out of NY City. You know, Romina actually, she used her own data to make this. She used geom point and some, you know, horizontal lines and some vertical lines, which I didn't teach you, but she learned how to, you know, do it with geom H line for horizontal line, geom H line, and geom V line for vertical lines, you know. And so we had Chewon who made, you know, he actually used color red and then fill blue for these ones. And you see, I told him in the Slack that, you know, I was going to teach you how to deal with things like that, and dealing with it actually is done by chord flip. That's number one. And number two, using the top and whatever, you know, if there are too many of them. Okay, Chewon, yeah, this is where it started, and then he changed it to this. Okay, Chewon made this as well, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's cool. All right, guys. So it's always a pleasure, you know, sharing my knowledge of R with you. I hope that you were able to learn some interesting things today. So you take care, and let's continue, you know, in the chat. Also, I told you about the touch typing software that I was offering to people. And so some people reached out to me letting me know that they wanted to learn how to touch type. So yes, so I'm going to send you guys the whatever you need. I thought that more people would be interested, but the people that were interested are exactly the number of codes that I have. So these people are going to receive the touch typing software. Okay, so you guys take care. God bless, and I will see you next time. So today is Tuesday. I will see you on Saturday then. But in the meantime, you know, try to review the code and try to understand, you know, the pivoting and all the different Ggplot stuff that we did. And I am going to send you a video, a recorded video, to go over the project, and I'm going to assign it to you so that you guys can do some practice. All right, guys, you take care, and let's continue on Slack until Saturday.